related to the land question. We were charged because I was here 2 years ago, the same day, rather on the 26th of June, 2016. I was here. That's where I made remarks that we must occupy our land because it's the right thing to do. So today is the second anniversary of that speech I gave here, which landed me into trouble. Because we're here commemorating the Freedom Charter, which said the land shall be shared amongst those who work it. That all of you will choose where you want to stay. So when I said, when you see a beautiful land, occupy it, I was repeating what the Freedom Charter said. It is not of my own making. I hope one day we'll get an opportunity to educate the court and the people of South Africa about what the Freedom Charter says. It is not me, it is Mandela's generation which said these things that I'm saying. And this act I'm charged with was passed after the adoption of the Freedom Charter, the Ratoyas Act, Writers' Assemblies Act. It was passed to stop people from occupying land. Because the Freedom Charter said people must occupy land wherever they choose to do so. It is this act that Mandela was charged with, the one that we are charged with today. It is the act that led to, amongst other things, Rivonia trials. Because they said our leaders were instigating people to take land from the white minorities who stole our land. But what is funny enough is that the ANC is using the same law which was used by apartheid against them. So we must know that nothing has changed. Things remain the way they are. Today, you must learn one thing. There is a difference between political power and electoral power. The ANC has got electoral power, but has got no political power. Because the politics of this country are still reflected in institutionalized racism that isolate everyone else who seek to liberate African people. So if you know what is political power, you will know that we do not have it. We have electoral power. People vote for us every 5 years. But what does it mean? It means nothing. Because you remain the same way you were in 2009, in 2014, and most probably even after 2019. You'll still be the same because we do not have political power. The political power you see, it's reflected in the judiciary, in the executive, in every sphere of life. How people conduct themselves, it will tell you who's got the political power. Let's simplify it for you. When you enter an office, now when you live here, you can go to any beautiful office. If you find the aircon cold, you must know who is in charge in that office. So those who have political power control the air condition in offices. So when you enter, the conditions of that office will just tell you who is in charge of that office. So it is in those simple things that you get to know who is in power, not electoral power where even fools get voted into power. They get voted into power because they know they are fools. They won't do anything with that electoral power. We must seize political power and not lose control of our people. Once we've got the people on our side, we've got political power. The ANC used to have political power in the 80s. National Party was in power through electoral power, but did not have political power. When O.R. Tambo said, "I call upon the youth of South Africa to render the country uncontrollable and South Africa ungovernable," the youth responded and rendered South Africa ungovernable. When the National Party said stop, the youth did not stop because the National Party did not have political power. When you have political power, you must call people into action, and they must respond accordingly because you've got political power. That's what the EFF has got now. The EFF has got political power, has got no electoral power. When the EFF speaks, the people listen. But the ANC is in power through electoral means. So when we say expropriate land without compensation, people say that is the way to go. Today, tomorrow we're starting with the process of consultations on the expropriation of land without compensation by Parliament. That thing is happening because the EFF said so. Yes. The EFF said we must expropriate land without compensation. And because the EFF has got political power, there is a process of consultation, and our people in their numbers will turn out and say that is the only option we have. Today, even established businesses, even business organizations are saying the expropriation of land without compensation is the solution to landless in South Africa. So you must never doubt yourself. You are on the right path because you control political power. Everything we say, people do. We said to our people, occupy the land. People are occupying the land. We have created homes for the homeless masses of our people. We did not need the electoral power. We needed the political power just to say to our people, this is the direction you need to take. Thousands and thousands today have got a place to call home because of the EFF, which is not in power. Today, every worker abused by a white racist or an Indian racist, they all run to the EFF because they know where political power resides. So you don't need those votes to control the politics of South Africa. So when we speak, they listen, even when they pretend not to be listening. We said majority of Indians are racist. They were all screaming, but they are now coming back one by one, sobering up and confirming exactly what the EFF is saying, that indeed majority of Indians are racist. We did not say all Indians. So if you are Indian and you are racist, you know we're talking to you. That's why you get angry. But to show the hypocrisy of South Africa and to show that racism is indeed alive, former Constitutional Court Judge Yakub, who is an Indian himself, says 90% of Indians are racist. They never said they're taking him to court. They never threatened to do all types of things against him. So when it is said by an Indian, because of racism, it is allowed, it is acceptable. Julius Malema comes and repeats after an Indian, no, you can't say the things that must be said by Indians only. Because you are an African, you are of a lower class, you can't say that. Including Judge Yakub himself. He comes and says, no, Malema did not say it the way I said it. That's racism. Because when it is said by him, it's cool and acceptable. When it is repeated, when an African repeats after him, it's a problem. That's the problem we're dealing with in this country. That it is truth when it is told by a white person. It is the truth when it is told by an Indian person. But if it's told by a person of a lower class, it's unacceptable. It is truth, but the way you are saying it, hey, whether I say it facing up or facing down or sleeping, it remains the truth. There is no part to the truth. And I say majority of Indians, I don't say 90%. You know what is majority? We must educate these illiterates who behave like they are educated when they are not. Majority means 51% or more. So I started with 51%. Judge Yakub says 90%. Effectively saying all of them. I don't say that. But I'm the most vilified person compared to everything which represents devil on earth. But I'm not worried. For because everything else I said before, they ridiculed me. They called me names. They wished me away. And later, they joined me. Because my mind is liberated. I'm a free man. I'm not inferior. I do not succumb to superiority of white people and Indians alike. I've got mind of my own. I'm not worried. They will repeat after me the same way they are doing with everything else we said. Let's go to the IFP leader who says, Mr. Buthelezi, who says our statement is racist. When we said the Guptas are a problem, Buthelezi said the Guptas are investors. Only came later to join us that no, hey, these people are corrupt. So I just want to give you an example with the IFP here. We know IFP here in Natal here. When we said the Guptas are corrupt, they must leave South Africa, the leader of the IFP said, we can't chase away investors. Later on, he repeated after us, for because we are ahead of all of them. And don't be scared to be ahead. Leaders must lead from the front. That's what the EFF is doing. We are leading from the front. If they take us to court for what we said about Indians and the court want to silence us, let them do it. The same way the courts of South Africa suspended revolutionary songs. Let the court do that. And let's see if that is sustainable. That every time the oppressed, the dejected, the rejected people, the indigenous masses of our people, every time they speak, there must be some way of silencing them. Let's see if that is sustainable. Because people must be allowed to speak. There is no truth which will cause divisions in South Africa. We are divided now. And only the truth will unite us. We cannot have artificial unity of pretending to each other. We ought to tell each other the truth. You are in a relationship here. Your partner is cheating. And you know your partner is cheating. You never tell. One day you'll just collapse of heart attack. Because you've got things inside you and you don't say them. Say them. So that they know you know they are cheating. And once they know you are cheating, they will perhaps stop. You have to say it. It doesn't matter whether the other side will receive it well or not. It's just a matter of time. They will come to appreciate that we're telling the truth. So fighters, don't be scared to tell the truth. Let me tell you, every time we tell the truth, now Indians are saying you are used by whites. Whites gave you money to attack as the Indians. When you attack the white racism, you are used by this and that and all of that. You know why they say that? It's because a black African can't think unless he's given something. Only then you can think. When we speak in parliament against Momo in treasury, they say, no, they are being investigated. No, SARS is going after them. No, they are defending their corruption. You know why? Africans can't think unless they've got something to hide. That's how they view us, including these journalists who are Indian, who are white, and including some of house niggers. They think you can't think until you are given something, because Africans can't think. So when they say Malema is being bribed by this one, Malema is defending his corruption, hey, Shibambo is doing this. No, they are responding to their own shock that why would an African think like this? Why would an African speak like this to Indians? Why would he do that to whites? Unless he's given something to say so. Because otherwise, ordinarily, these people can't think. It's an insult. It's an insult that we as Africans should unite against. And that why, instead of entertaining the idea, you attack the man and not attend to his issues. So, let's not be scared. Let's not be demoralized. Let's become more resolute. Let's become more determined to fight against the oppression of black people in general and Africans in particular. And don't be apologetic when you fight for Africans, because they were the most oppressed. I'm not fighting with Indians. I'm saying to them, you were oppressed better than us. You had water, you had electricity, you had tar roads, you had Indian schools, you had shops, you had all sorts of things, and you were in the closer proximity to white people. We did not have anything. So when we talk liberation, we can't do it at the same time and say both Africans and Indians must be elevated at the same time. It won't happen. Why? Because Indians are here and Africans are here. When you say to them, let's all go up at the same time, Indians will always be ahead because they are ahead already of Africans. You ought to say to Indians, so that Africans can come closer. So once you are at the same level, then we'll take all of you at the same time up, closer to the white minorities. So it's not about the fight. It's like when we say to you, when a man qualifies for this job, an African woman qualifies for the same job, right? We give the job to the woman. Why? She was oppressed more than men. She was oppressed because she's a woman. She was oppressed because she's African. She was oppressed because she's working class. That's why there must be a deliberate move for women to come into the leadership structures and structures that take decisions as 50% deliberate decision. Why? We're putting them at the same level with men. Once they are there, then we will take both of them up at the same time. We are leveling the playing field. It's not racism. It's not discrimination. It's a deliberate empowerment of the most oppressed people. So when we say this, we are vilified. We are even declared losers of the week. If we are losers of the week for fighting for Africans, we are therefore making an application to be losers for life. Because we are going to fight for this for the rest of our life. It will never stop. It can't be stopped by a newspaper calling us Mampara of the Week or a TV program calling us the losers of the week. Then we are Mamparas for the rest of our lives because we are going to fight for Africans until our graves. Even in our graves, we'll fight for Africans, because we are going to be the ghost that fight for the African. We will never retreat. Not even death can stop us from fighting for the African people here in South Africa and all over Africa and the diaspora. For because we black people, everywhere else we are found, we are oppressed. Be it in China, be it in America, be it in India, as long as you are black and African, you are going to find some form of an isolation. We're not fighting for South Africans only. We're fighting for those who are oppressed all over the world. And we're not apologizing about that. And if it means isolation, let them isolate us. This is the life we have chosen. It's our life. We wake up every morning to fight for black people. And we make no apology about that. No prison can arrest our ideas. Our ideas are out there. Liberate your mind. The only way to liberate your mind is by associating with the EFF. Because all of these people in the EFF, their mind is liberated. They don't succumb to white supremacy. They don't succumb to ANC dominance. Because many of you are scared, South Africans, to express yourself because of unum savings. But if I go to EFF, they are going to refuse me with a tender or with a job. You are a coward. Your mind is arrested by the ANC. No tender, no job will stop us from expressing how we feel. We must never use material. We must use our conviction. We must use our ideas to determine our destination. Whatever we are confronted with, if we die tomorrow, we must die with our souls intact. Not because we sold our souls to the highest bidder. Even if you are alone, tell the truth alone. Don't demand anyone to clap hands for you.